I'd like to call upon Carrie's higher self and subconscious, please.
Yes, this is them.
So much. Are we able to do a body scan for the body and let us know what's happening for her today?
Yes, we are scanning the body right now and everything looks really good.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much. Is there any heavy metals that are still in her system?
There are a few heavy metals, but we will continue to help her purge them over this next week. She needs to continue to drink more water. She has been semi-fasting to help and assist in the detoxification, and that will also help her for the future.
Out of curiosity, is there any foods that could help with the detoxification?
She can more vegetables, like spinach. We're showing her she can eat more like spinach salads, and that will help pass through the leafy greens. Will really help her.
Would that be the same for others?
Yes, yes. Spinach is very good in helping the body detoxify. Also, she does do. She did a detoxifying bath today with baking soda, apple cider vinegar, and some clay that is also really good to purge through her skin. And she did notice the water was murky afterwards.
Out of curiosity, why does the spinach help with the detoxification of the heavy metals?
The vitamins within the spinach really help bind to the metals and absorb, kind of like it creates a binding effect so it can be passed through the digestive tract. Also, it helps replenish the nutrients when you are going through detoxification. It helps replenish those nutrients to keep you still feel like a little the lethargy, like the tiredness. It helps you with the energy through that time.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate the information. Okay, so we were curious about how do people, when they arrive on the new Earth, how will they be updated with the full extent of the crimes against humanity?
So it will be, so the way the communication is going to be on the new earth is very different than what it is now. The communication on new earth will be more of a unity source information. So if there is information that is needing to be tapped into, there can be universal knowledge through the records within that planetary system. And so that is one of the key lessons that will be learned immediately for communication, is that it will be a universal consciousness that can be accessed. However, there will be individual free thinking. It will just be able to be accessed in the universal consciousness.
Fascinating. And so, will that almost be like instant information, or is there a process to that?
So it will be have to be like you have to inquire on that information. However, we will be able to there will be signs. So like when your team is trying to give you signs or information on your journey here on earth, you have little key signs. Some people resonate with like ringing in their ears, some have pressure, some have like energy source. And so when we are transmitting information that we would like all to access, that we are able to give you those signs, and you'll become more clear in what those signs are within your time on new earth. And it will just be like almost like a broadcast, if you will, not the broadcast you guys are all expecting, but it will be a broadcast of like, hey, there's new updates, kind of like a news channel now, where it would be like incoming news, right? Like it would just be kind of on that same level, but it would be, you guys would have be more cued into your signs that we are wanting to provide you guys that information. And so that is also part of the like foundational levels of information that you guys will be learning, a part of your orientation onto new earth.
Fascinating. Thank you so much. And can you tell us, are there hybrids on the new Earth now? And if so, what are they doing?
They're hybrids in a sense. It would not be like what you would once perceive here on the current Earth that you are on now. The hybrids, it's energy source, it's energy combinations. And so the crystalline children are hybrid children that are being seeded on new Earth. And but it's not so much the body they encompass, because the crystalline body is not the same as the carbon body, where it takes more of a physical shape, and it has more like although we have shapeshifters, like more or less you're in like a predominantly like non-transitional body here on Earth. However, the crystalline body has more freedom in the way it shifts, so it's more of the energy source is hybrid energy source, and that is part of the evolution process. It is not necessarily a physical features that the hybrid children will obtain, if that makes sense.
All fascinating. Thank you so much. Um, uh, also, was curious about what would other hybrids? I know this is a very general question, but can you give me a general understanding of hybrids that have been taken from this planet that are on different planets? Can you kind of give me an understanding of why and what they are doing? I know it's very general, but can you just give us a clarification of one of the options?
Okay, so if you think of everything as unity source, if you think of everything from one source, that essentially whether where they're at on the evolutionary chain, or where they're at on what dimension that they predominantly lie, it is all just a collection of information for the collectives that those sources resonate with. And so when we seed other planets, it is just to gain information, and it is just to gain tools and information to guide our collectives how to best what the best kind of next move is, in a way. And so it is not they're there. We're seeing which energies work, what percentages they work, if they work better in different environments. If we're taking all that data, like you would collect the root data for any kind of presentation, if you will. And we're collecting all that data, we gain it, we put it all in a presentation, and we look as to for those collectives where the best way to move forward is. And so that is simply all the seeding process is. And it's a way for our collectives to also have experiences within different realms, within different planets, within different denseness, and to really see where the best success lies.
Fantastic. And we're assuming they still have the same spiritual teams and guides and protection as they're having these other experiences on different planets.
Yes, yes. And they do have the spiritual teams, the same spiritual teams. And there is oftentimes in the ascension process where the spiritual teams, they kind of switch up. The ground person then becomes the guy in the command center. And so, that does happen down the line. But it does take a long time for that to happen. But it's just a way to see who works best where. And it's just as if you were to have a new job and your boss were to place different people in different areas, and then they switch it up and they see, does this work better, does this work better, is this person better suited for this role? Where is there, it's a character test kind of, in a way, like where are you best suited, what are your skills, what are your attributes, where can you learn from, where can you grow from, what do you have best to share with others? It is really fundamentally just a way for us to experiment and to explore all options.
Thank you so much. And so, is it the DNA or is it the physical? I'm trying to understand a little bit more about why do the hybrids need to be created here on this planet to then be shared amongst multiple other planets around the multi-use?
here on Earth, it had to do with their DNA and the resonance of their energy. And so the DNA did play a huge factor, and it does continue to. There is crystalline DNA and there is like energy source DNA in a sense. But it's really the energy where it resonates both like best in the physical form as much as it is physical. And so it does play both. But the DNA here on Earth was so that the energy that was applied in that human vessel was best suited within that DNA that had that vibration and that resonance of that energy. And so it would almost, if we didn't, we kind of worked with, and there have been a lot of vessels that are energy that get placed in vessels that feel like they're not their selves. They feel like they can't identify with the body that they are placed in. And that is another, it's not a fail, because we don't look at it as a fail. It's just we then fine tune it to say, okay, then let's not do that again. This energy source does not feel comfortable within this DNA. The DNA does not resonate with the energy that is placed within this skin suit. And so then we, play with it and see, okay, can we place this energy within a different DNA that more resonates within the energy? And so it's all just science and our way of using science and not man-made science.
Thank you so much. So extraordinary, and obviously because we know that souls have life contracts and they know exactly what their bodies are and where they're going to be living and what experiences. This is all very well organized from your perspective.
Yes, it's very well organized and it's very well tracked and it's very well followed up on, and it's very well, we take all that information and we change our approach constantly based on the information that we receive.
Fantastic. Okay, so extraordinary. It's wonderful. In terms of the Netflix documentary Sweet Tooth, is there any information you'd like us to know about why this is in our consciousness at the moment?
It's one of those predictive programming. It is also to it also is to help soften people's hearts for difference. Difference is not always bad, and that we should embrace the difference. But it also plays on what fear can do to people, to hunt one another, to uh, sabotage the success. And it's also to what humanity has done to Gaia and the extreme that Gaia has had to do in defense of offsetting that extremism. And nature cures all. Nature is always, we say this many times in sessions, that to go into nature is very grounding and very healing. And why would a being from that is, a hybrid of nature, of course not be healing? And it is going down that path within that series to show that they are destroying the one thing that is actually the most healing of all. And it is also a representation of the crimes against the children within this planet Earth. It is a representation of like what has been going on, and how the children were the healers. The children were the ones that were supposed to heal. And here that humanity has taken them and has, although it was a part of their contract, but has taken them and has somewhat disrespected, and actually not somewhat, but a lot disrespected, and forgot about the children and stopped listening to the children. And in a way, the children were always the path and always the way.
Thank you so much. I was also wondering if it had some link to triggering people's memories about their time in Atlantis, where they had hybrid children, which they were manipulating through genetics because of some inoculations that had happened generations earlier.
Yes, yes, it is very much. History repeats itself. They always say that. And we were also, this was also a potential timeline that although it is not what we are going to be going down, but it was a potential, there was a fork in the road where this was a potential that this was going to happen in present day Earth as well. And but there is genetic testing and there is genetic hybridization. However, it is not natural what has happened, and there are beings that are hybrid beings that have been formed by entities, government entities within planet Earth. There have been other species that have, we bring forth the Sasquatch species, have interbred, and of course, the hybridization of what you would call extraterrestrials within the humans. However, as far as the extensiveness of that, that is pretty much the broadness of it, but it was not something that was along the line of the storyline of the show. But yes, it is to remind of Atlantis and the history and the power that was disrespected and not treated with care.
I see. And to understand it and not be prejudiced to something that looks different.
Exactly. That um, why would you be afraid of nature?
Yeah. Well, ultimately, was it the nature part that they were afraid of, or was it the man? I feel like humans are still afraid of humans.
Humans are very much afraid of humans. Humans, that's a choice they make every single day when they look at another human in the eye, or choose to just be afraid and not even want to engage with that human. Um, Humanity has been placed 6 feet apart, has been put in masks, has been over this past year been told to tell on your neighbor, has been told a lot of things to pin man against man. And so the ones that chose to not embrace their power, realize they were sovereign, are very much afraid of each other at this moment.
Okay, thank you. I will explore that a little bit more. But just getting back to the Sweet Tooth the series on Netflix, would that be an opportunity for people to be able to get some healing if they did recall their past lives where they were the parents of those hybrids that were killed by their governments?
It would be an opportunity to get healing. It would also be an opportunity to heal that pain. Um, for a lot that have experienced that in past lives, it is very painful to lose a child. It is very painful, even though it may be lifetimes ago. And so, but to embrace your power, that to heal those cycles, to heal the pain, will release and free and be of love and of service.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, I mean, we do know that there is many people that still have trauma from their Atlantean and their Lemurian lifetimes, and so we're trusting that all of this is being worked through now as they are in very similar current day situations, including viruses and propaganda towards I guess in Atlantis it was true they did have many viruses because they were so out of nature. But was this using the virus for humanity for like last year? Was this to also trigger people into having the same experiences as, say, those who were in Atlantis at that time when they were experiencing those such disharmony?
Yes, it was a trigger for the remembering, and to quiet the mind to be able to remember. The virus was, although it may not be perceived this way for most, the virus was a gift from Gaia. The virus was a gift to stop the cycles, a gift to the awakening, a gift to the slowing down of life, a gift to the choice, a gift to the empowerment. It was all cloaked under a name, but however, it was able to stop humanity in its tracks within a day. Because if you think back of when it started, how many people found out on a Friday and by Monday their worlds were turned upside down? But that was a gift. It was a gift for the freedom of planet Earth. And it was a gift for those who were stuck in those karmic cycles of past lifetimes within those, uh, those tragic, cataclysmic events, to be able to free themselves, to be able to use their free will to ask for healing, to ask for freedom. And so when you look at it as a gift, you can then embrace it so much more with open arms and the empowerment and the lessons to be learned.
So true. Absolutely. I love that perspective. Thank you once again for that. And so, in terms, getting back to racial profiling, do you know, or can we call on any collectives? Can we understand why there is this knee jerk reaction to those people who live in Nigeria? For some people, we understand it's not for all, especially not for those probably who live there. But can we understand the behavior and these reactions to this country, please?
People are choosing to follow a narrative that they have been fed. People are choosing to not use their discernment and to ask themselves, have I ever been affected by this country? Have I ever been affected by anybody from this country? Or have I heard a story? Have I heard a rumor? This is a powerful country of light workers. There are very powerful beings there that you are missing an opportunity to connect with and to embrace and to help the circuit board, if you will, of light workers connect, and letting some other dialogue or narrative that has been fed to you be the guiding light instead of your discernment and your free will to ask the higher questions of, has anyone ever from this country done harm to me? How much information have you been fed about other countries or other people or your neighbor or anybody else that you have taken the word as like gold, but you never actually experienced any of these negativities? Have you not learned enough, humanity, that this is what they want you to feel? They want you to feel hatred and division with one another. And you have a choice every single time to embrace whether you're going to love and accept what the person standing before you presents to you. The vehicle right now is feeling very strong about this because she does not want, and she wants to protect this racism and this prejudice from going from into the galaxies, because she feels very protective of New Earth. She feels very protective of the other galaxies, the other planetary systems, that she does not want this racism or this hatred for no reason to spread any further. But we say to you, you have a choice every day to love. You have a choice every day to accept what is being presented to you. And we just ask that you guys really dig deep down into your heart and ask why. Why would you not create a connection to other light workers? Why would you not create another connection of love to humanity? You are here of service. You are here of love. You are here because you want to raise the vibration. You want to help assist humanity, the collectives, and all the beings within and Gaia on ascension to New Earth. So if anything, that division, racism, prejudice, if any of that is in your heart, we ask you to please ask for healing and ask for release of this, because this programming is exactly that. And you have a choice to reprogram and to ask to see things through your heart, through your soul.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Is it also an opportunity for people to realize that we all are human and that we must overcome all of these emotions and all of this effectively brainwashing, shall we say. And when we know that all areas in this world of information has been of mostly brainwashing to some degree for their own narrative, can we forgive ourselves and forgive others for what they didn't know what they were doing, and be able to empower and grow each day with a positive mindset, as you were saying?
Yes, we would love that for all of humanity. You guys, it's just one choice away from the healing. It's just one choice to forgive or to release that programming, that brainwashing. That's it. It's just one moment between division to unity. And we want to send that healing to all who ask for it, to all that need it. That this brainwashing and this programming no longer serves you. And it is time for unity.
Fantastic. I know when people have found and stumbled upon their inner work, it almost embarrasses them because they couldn't see it earlier. And so instead of feeling hatred for a nation, then they feel hatred for themselves for judging themselves for not knowing better. So all of that kind of lower negative reactions really do need to stop at this point.
Yes, judgment of self or judgment of others serves no purpose other than to stay within the programming. Do you want to be enslaved to the same cycles that have been keeping humanity enslaved on this earth for so long? Or do you want to laugh it off and be like, you know what? I'm human, and just move forward with love in your heart and love for self, love for others. It's just that easy.
Mm, fantastic. Okay, great. I really appreciate that. Um, we were curious about the new court case, if that's the right term, that has been presented to the country of America about their First Amendment. What would you like us to know about this, and how will we see it unfold for us?
The court case will unfold. However, you will not see it come to fruition here before the shift. And it is another, it's another part of the act, if you will, of the play. And this is setting the stage for a bigger disclosure. And this was already predetermined within the script of what is to play out. And it is for the awakening. It is to help others awaken and ask themselves questions about something on these platforms seem somewhat like child's play. And even as an adult, when you engage with them, they seem somewhat like a game. Whether it's a connecting, families, it still is somewhat of a game. And it will also awaken humanity to realize the true warfare that has been um, instilled within these platforms, and, and the brainwashing, as you said earlier. And it will help to get humanity to ask higher questions.
Does it also provide people hope?
Absolutely. Because now there's a voice where you can feel a certain way, but feel like, well, what am I going to do about it? Right? Like, I just have to deal with it. Now it's like, I no longer have to deal. I can be part of the solution. There's going to be change. It is very helps with the raising of the vibration in preparation for the shift.
Great. Well, that will inspire many to keep their vibrations high as they look forward to such a event unfolding. And are we to assume then that that will be implemented, and that there will be an instant restate of these censorship accounts on social media, for example, or will it take longer?
It will not be instant. However, it will not take as long as the court case. It will be sooner than thought, but it will not be the instant that they had predetermined.
Okay, and thank you. And so then once there is more freedom of expression and information is then opened back, do you think then this will be an opportunity for the information from uh, John McAfee, for example? Is that going to be then brought into and brought onto online?
It is already set in as part of that. So if you were to think of it like a play and we're in act three, act four, it's already set to be in a following act. And what is going to be playing out is already, it will be fine tuned, but it is already part and set on the stage, if you will. And he's waiting to come on stage soon, for that information.
Will he physically come on stage or will it be his information?
His information.
How was he going? Because I know he was hanging out with Carrie. Well, his consciousness was hanging out with Carrie for a while after that last session we did with her.
He's going well. He knew he was intense for her, and he liked her energy because she thought he was funny. But he has given her a little bit of a break. Although he's saying right now, he's like, well, I don't expect that break to be too long because like here I am hanging out, and I just sometimes want to talk to people. So um, yeah, but he's going well. He is really his energy is with his wife on Earth, and because she is having a hard time right now with this, so he's been hanging out with her more and trying to really give her love and peace, and really help her through this time because she is grieving and having a hard time with us.
Oh, goodness. Well, it has occurred to me that even though we've had many conversations together, I did not offer any healing for you. So I do apologize for that. Are we able to give you profound healing and love, and also protection and love for your wife and all of the people that you know are of service to your work?
Yes, yes, he loves that right now. His heart just felt like it melted. He's really he really appreciates that right now, and he really is just bashful, which is not something he's used to being. So thank you for offering that.
You're more than welcome. It does dawn on me how hard it would have been to have that information and to not know how to have got it out without repercussions. And I understand that this was eating into your body. So I have compassion for you, and I hope that you are able to release more of the burden that you are placing on yourself.
He's making Carrie feel lighter in her heart and lighter in her spirit. And the healing is already helping him. And he is going to really center that healing around his wife right now at this time.
Fantastic. Okay, great. Um, we understand that you had a role to play, like everyone does. And while I know that many would have loved this information to be out earlier, we do also know that the on the other side, more people got to grow and empower themselves and find their like-minded communities. And so, I hope that you know that everything happens in divine timing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know that. And being on this side makes it so much easier to understand the bigger picture.
Well, don't go bragging. um, yeah, not jealous, but also grateful that you are able to be more able to see it. And I feel like each time we connect, you're more and more healed and more. Um, yeah, I'm happy for you, and I'm happy. I'm really looking forward to this information. So I really want to thank you for having this information. I think a lot of people have forgotten that the information that you have is really important and will be a big key in this. So I know some people were not so your biggest fan when they found out you'd hold on to this information, but we also understand the reasons why. So thank you for everything you've been doing, and I understand you had a very hard role, but we really appreciate all the support and encouragement that you're giving all of those who are going to be sharing your information.
Thank you for that. And yes, I get it. I'd be pissed at me too. So, you know, it is what it is. And when you guys are on this side, or when you guys are ascended, like, you'll understand it. And, just like in many hiccups that you've done in your life, and you wish that you could go back and like redo, but like this is how it had to play out. So, whatever that was and whatever I was part of, I'm proud of the fact that I could help in the way that I could from this side.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad. I am glad. Okay. Well, do you have any information for us before I recede you to back to your wife?
No, I'd rather just go with her right now. And that's where my focus is going to be. The rest is in good hands, it's protected. I'm connected to it and protected to it, but I just really want to go with my wife right now.
Yes. So, please, and thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Okay. So, are we able to connect back with Carrie's subconscious and higher self, please?
This is them.
Thank you very much. And so, what other information? Oh, that's right. I know we've connected to him before, and I want to see if he has anything new to share with humanity. So, are we able to call in the consciousness of Hitler, Adolf Hitler, to be able to be reminded of his life purpose and contracts here and his role to play for humanity?
Yes, this is Hitler.
Thank you so much. What do you do now in the afterlife?
Well, right now in the afterlife, I mean, I have been, I've, so there is not, when the cycles are not finished in the world, and my name still has an energy resonance. Anytime I am talked about, thought about, I am somewhat invoked upon this world. And so I somewhat can't fully move on in a way, in the way that one would think, because I am currently being talked about a lot. So I am here busy. I am also wanting to see, I'm really curious of how humanity is going. I'm curious of what's going on with uh, humanity and their choices, and very interested in the same cycles that humanity has been going on with. It seems somewhat like time has passed, but same cycles have been occurring.
Yes. So, what was your purpose and what were you supposed to be doing? What was your role that you needed to play for humanity?
Well, my role was one that was very pivotal. You talk about many times upon the world, and that time of my reign was a huge time of a reset. It's a huge time of an awakening. This was an opportunity that humanity had that potentially to shift. However, the timing of it wasn't quite right, and the interconnection between the world of humanity was not enough like what you have now with the internet, and so it was not possible. But what my role was to get people to wake up, to the systems that could easily control and manipulate humanity, you know, before your own eyes, and how many people would watch it just happen as if it was just a zoo exhibit and not do anything. And so my role was a huge one of an awakening.
A huge role for awakening. That is a really positive perspective on your life mission and purpose. And do you feel like that humanity was ready for that? And do you feel like humanity, I mean, what happened for humanity to not be awoken at that point?
Free will. Free will happened. People were just trying to survive in a lot of ways. And when you're in survival mode, you cannot look and thrive. You are just trying to get from one dot to another. And the way the economic system was set up, and the educational system, it was very oppressive, and people did not, they were just happy having their small communities, and the relationships within those, but they didn't think of others outside of those communities, and they didn't think of like even like citizens of the world. And so people were happy living within their box, and they could survive. And it's very much the same of what's going on right now. And the only thing is that now you have technology that has connected you to other places to gain somewhat of an awareness to want to care for thy neighbor, even though thy neighbor lives nowhere near you. And I think that's the advantage that there is during this time, is the technology that's bringing more together, versus people staying just happy with their small communities.
Mm, okay. And so obviously times have changed, but people's behavior and attitudes are still peer pressured into using their free will to go with the main narrative.
Yes. How much division do you see between workplaces or communities where there are masked and unmasked, vaccinated and unvaccinated? You don't even have to be a different religion. You don't have to be a different skin color anymore. You just have to make a different choice than thy neighbor, and you are outed to your community. When you look back in history and you look back in what's portrayed of the Star of David having to be worn on the arm, or the swastika of the Nazi symbolism, isn't it just the same? Isn't it just division, separation?
Yes. The illusion of separation, um, which then people have those choices to follow through with it. So, what message do you have for humanity today?
My message is that I understand that through whatever lens you see me as, I can be someone who unveiled a great the great power and destruction of a few elite, or I could be someone who was viewed as a murderer. And it is all just your lens of perception. For me to go back and clarify who I was would take too much time. But you have a choice now with that lens of perception on this earth to look at the world, to look at your neighbor, to look at the other beings, that you guys are all just one. There is an elite, there is a there is a hardship and a uh, denser vibration that is being trying to be inflicted upon you, and you have a choice to unite, to love one another, to love self, and to be united through that, and to help assist during these times.
Well, thank you. And because we like to see things from the bigger perspective, where you can respect fully your life contract, how hard was it for you to accept this role? Was it? I can't. I can understand that you are of service to help humanity awaken to what can be done, but when you're taking on board that role of a predominant leader, um, from your perspective, can you tell us a little bit about that?
It was very hard. It was very hard because it was not, I had to be strong. I had to stay convicted to the contract that I had come in for. And I had witnessed a great many doing huge disservice and unkindness to humanity. And it was hard to see, it was to unveil the people who made choices to engage in these systems and to be held accountable. But in order to do that, you have to let the crimes unfold. And it was a hard contract to take on. However, although it was not unsuccessful for the awakening, it also uh, helped people have a narrative now in their history of looking at this awakening right now to compare similarities. And so, although it was not successful, it's successful in the way for the path to ascension for what's going on right now. Because a lot of people see a lot of parallels between what's going on right now and what happened then, and can say, no, I'm not engaging in that. No, I'm not doing that. And so, in that way, looking forward, I can take pride in the role that, what I was a part of.
I understand, and yes, it is um, a good moment in history to look back and learn from. Ideally, even though I feel like we don't know the truth about all that happened in our past, or the purposes of it, we understand that what we must focus on right now is our current day and moving forward with the most positive belief system that we can have, and not have judgment of others and other people's roles, as they are all here of service to humanity.
Yes, and you're correct. It was not portrayed as it actually happened. However, there have been portrayals and accuracies, but you will not find that on any mainstream source, or will be not taught in the schools.
Yes. Does it? How does it affect you when people use your name as a curse or an insult?
People are people. They have to have a scapegoat of some sort. So whether it's me or whether it's somebody else, it's still just people being people. And when you want to, it's just a downward spiral, like, of doing that. And so, I understand it. I understand humanity. I understand humanity very well. And so it just really it doesn't upset me. I just see people as being people and hurting one another.
Yes, they seem to be very good at that. But it's because they hurt themselves, isn't it? That they're just reacting.
It's a mirror. Whatever you project on somebody else is what you're feeling.
Ah, okay, interesting. I mean, yeah, I can definitely see that. I just want to now start unpacking some of the things I'm processing. Great. So you've been still helping and still being connected to humanity. What are you going to do once the liberation of this planet has happened and it is all being completed?
I will be going, I'm showing Carrie, like, I'm going to another planet. I'm not going to New Earth. I'm going to explore. I am actually a very highly enlightened being. Um, and this was like one of my lessons was to go and take this role and stay strong. So I'm going to go and offer my service to another planet.
Well, fantastic. Yeah. And yes, I can understand you would. It wouldn't be just an average soul that could come in and have and endured the experience of your life. And especially as I know, we can still impact people who have departed. So I'm assuming you had great protection. So do they? When can has mostly humanity healed from this? Is there still trauma from that? I'm assuming so. Sorry for the dumb question.
There is still trauma. However, what has helped release some of that trauma is that age generational of who during that timeline have been passing away. And so with their release has healed that trauma. And with most of those, like from their high 80s to, some of them might be in their hundreds, but most of them are passing away within that generation. And so when they do, and of course they go back to source for healing, that trauma is transmuting into healing.
Fantastic. Would it then also heal back the generations and their their lineage on Earth?
Yes, it would. It would help heal some of that. However, the stories, you have to be careful in humanity of the stories you tell. You have to be careful, because the stories that are told can reinvoke like some of that trauma. And so, even when you are kind of going over a situation that you went through recently, or like something that you went through, and you're telling the story to another person, careful how you tell that story. Do you tell that story from a healing place, from a learned lesson place, or you tell that story from a place of trauma? Because when you tell that story from a place of trauma, you're re-invoking that trauma.
Yes, it's a sign that you're not truly healed when you're still repeating and talking about the same thing over again.
Right. So if you can look at these times and talk about them from higher perspective, that can create a healing as well.
Yeah, with the bigger perspective that everything is a lesson and experience, and it's what we have contracted for ourselves to experience and explore and master and overcome.
Yes. And that frees that lesson to just dissolve in the wind.
Lovely. Okay, well, thank you so much. Um, I would like to offer love and appreciation for your tremendous hard role for humanity, and I know that from the other side they will see it as the opportunity to learn from that era in humanity's time, and to see things from a bigger picture that we've been tried we've been tried they have been trying to wake up humanity for much longer than we even are noticing.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And I really appreciate you giving me a platform and a respect, to let me present who I am today and not judge me, and just allow me to come in and share myself with you.
Hmm. Well, we're all one, we're all from source, and it would be hypocritical to judge um, anyone really. And I can't even comprehend having to endure a lifetime that you did. And so hopefully the next lifetime, if you want to go back into the physical, can be something fantastic and wonderful. And and I don't know what the opposite would be, but enjoy where you are, and all the best for your future lifetimes.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I have learned very valuable lessons in my time and including now. So thank you for that. And I honor you.
Hmm. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so you can recede to where you belong with much love and appreciation. So can we call back Carrie's higher self and subconscious, please?
This is them.
Thank you very much. How is the body going?
The body's good. Her body's getting a little numb from just sitting in one spot for too long.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, I don't have any further questions. Is there anything else that we would like to that you would like us to know?
No, we feel like it's been very well covered, and you know, we know that there is a lot of denseness that's being transmuted right now. And we just want to offer that you guys connect with your teams and really use your free will to ask for anything. You know, it's the worst thing that can happen is it doesn't happen. But don't forget to use your free will to ask. Don't assume that it's going to come your way. And just a reminder for all that we're all here wanting to connect and support you. And just don't forget about that free will part.
Fantastic. I wonder what people would be wanting now that they know that they can have their wishes granted. And I'm assuming that with your free will, you only get given the most appropriate things. So it kind of, it's interesting. Thank you. In terms of Carrie's role in the sound healing and what she was um, providing, um, is there anything that you would like her to know?
The vehicle is like, okay, here we go. um, that was very one of what she feels is one of the hardest things. However, she's can look back at her history and realize she's survived much harder. But she was connecting with the crimes of the children. She was connecting their energy. She was, in a way, crying and transmuting all of that energy that needed to be released at this time. She was providing that information so to be real. To so many times, you guys try to keep your vibration high, that you can't, that it's confusing from our perspective in a way, and from Gaia's perspective of how you guys are going. And at that moment, she just needed to be real and say to the collectives and to Gaia, this is how it's going. This is how much pain is here. This is why we need to release. This is why we need to go. And so that was very hard. However, there were so many in that were connected during that meditation that were of their lights were connected. Like you guys were all supporting one another, and it was very beautiful, and it was very healing. But the circuitry that was created between all of you was like a brainstorm, if you will. It was like all the information that you've gathered in collective. You guys were putting it together in a project and a presentation, and like literally putting like uh, Carrie doesn't know what those like electronic presentations that you do on TV or on the computer are, but you guys were doing one of those and saying, this is how we are. And there was a lot of energy that was transmuted and felt, and Gaia and the collectives needed to know. So it was very important, this last sound healing. And we know it was hard and dense for some. And we appreciate that you guys were able to stick together and support and love one another. And it's been no coincidence, and no like it's been predestined that you guys, and contracted that you guys would all support each other to align to that moment.
Thank you so much. Yes, it was a rainbow of emotions that during that journey. So, well, thank you so much, and thank you to Carrie and her team to be able to help with that transmutation. transmuting the energies, as we all can be accepting that everything from a life contract is all predetermined, and it's acceptable to have these lives, especially the lives of the children that have had the crimes against humanity happen to them. We understand that they were willing and wanting to have this experience to help awaken humanity, and it's hard for us to even want to think about the feelings that they went through while they were playing out and living their roles. And so it's nicer to have the bigger picture, because it doesn't lower our vibrations with the density of the emotions. So what I'm trying to say is, I'm really grateful that we were able to help that, because it is very challenging to know what to do, and especially when we know that now that they, the ones who have already left their bodies, they are already healed, but the energy of this trauma is still on and around this planet and within the consciousness of those who have awoken to it. And so, are we able to release those who are still in trauma from knowing this information and don't know how to see it from the bigger perspective, that this was just to awaken them?
Yes, we are able to send that healing. We're able to send that release, and that is part of what you all did on that journey. Is to there will be some more information coming out soon of this, and to release it is helping to prepare and strengthen for the ones that have had no connection with this information. And so it'll help those light workers when we release this trauma of this transmission, to help support and stay grounded in more of a neutral place to support the others that will be. It'll be quite traumatic, for it to be new information, as it was when it was new information for you all.
Absolutely. And so, will that information be shared before the shift, or for those who are staying?
It'll be shared part of the broadcast after the power outage.
Oh, so they are going to now share the information about the children.
They're not going to share it to the degree that it was before, but they will have to unveil some of the degree of the tribunals.
Okay, I see. Okay, well, thank you very much. We really appreciate that. I am aware that the vehicle is running out of gas. So, thank you for all the information you've provided for us today.